Well, apparently during that time, they also promised, the state of Georgia, or the federal government promised Georgia that they would, because the federal government, no, wait a minute, Georgia's boundary at that time encompassed Alabama and Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
The federal government wanted that land, and they bought it from Georgia.
Okay.
And they told the state of Georgia, we will eventually help you with your move the Indians out west.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And the Cherokee, when Jackson, he wasn't president then, but when Jackson was down in New Orleans at the Battle of Chalmette,
Okay.
the Cherokee Indians were pretty helpful in doing that. I mean, in having him be victorious.
Oh, okay.
And so then a few years later, he became president.
Okay, that's when the French took the Americans took took New Orleans from the French.
Well, I don't know that.
Okay,
that part about
okay,
history, but,
okay. Never mind.
Jackson became president, and this was in 1830 something, early 30s.
Okay.
Gold was discovered in Indian territory up and around Calhoun.
Oh.
And the Cherokees, I mean, if you can imagine, they had their own newspaper in their own language. They could read and write.
Oh, okay.
And people picked the Cherokee Indians as living in wigwams like you see on the Plains Indians.
Yeah.
They lived in log cabins and dressed just like everybody else did.
Oh, wow.
And so, but Georgia said, well, we need...
They're not savage. They can't call them savages.
We need to get you off of that land because there's gold up there.
Oh.
And so Georgia passed a bunch of laws, and one of them said a white man, Indian couldn't testify against a white man, and I mean, crazy laws.
Okay.
Well, the federal government tried to get the Indians to sell them the land.
Okay.
And the Indians said, no, we like where we are, we're not going to move.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was I guess the Cherokee Nation at that time was about 18,000 strong.
Oh, wow.
There was a small group of people that said, well, look, this is inevitable. The federal government's going to do what it wants to do, and we're going to wind up having to move anyway. So let's go ahead and sign that treaty.
Oh.
And so there was I believe there's about 500 of them
Mm-hmm.
that signed a treaty with the government.
Okay.
And to bound the whole nation.
Right.
And so John Ross, who was one of he was the principal chief of the Cherokee Nation.
Mm-hmm.
He and a lot of other Indians went up to Washington to try to get Jackson to change his mind.
Right.
And although the Cherokee had helped him win that battle in New Orleans,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he just would not back up.
Damn.
And so long story short, they herded them all up into forts.
Mm-hmm.
And started the Trail of Tears, and I forget how many thousand died on that trail out there. And the interesting thing is, there was a guy named, I think his name was Thomas Clark. He was a white man, and the Indians couldn't own land in their own name.
Okay.
And so he had been abandoned as a kid, and the Cherokee had brought him up.
Oh.
Will Clark was his name.
Okay.
And so he bought thousands and thousands and thousands of acres in his name for the Cherokee
Wow.
up in North Carolina.
Wow.
And he filed bankruptcy. And so the creditors came after him because he had all this land.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we're going to get this land, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Well, the case went to and the Indian said, that's our land. He was holding trust for us and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And so it went to I believe, the North Carolina Supreme Court. And they upheld the Indian's claim.
Wow.
So
That's good. That is good piece of history. They
look on that phone, look up